The Gorges du Verdon are located in the southeast of France, between the mountain and the sea. It's the greatest canyon in Europe. It attracts more than 800,000 tourists a year with a lot of activities. The Gorges du Verdon are also remarkable with their wild and pastoral landscapes. There, we can see one of the largest raptors in France, the Griffon Vulture, which has been reintroduced because of its extinction.
Griffon vultures are big raptors. They weigh nearly 10 kilograms and their wingspan is around 3 meters. They have a brown plumage and a fluffy neck. They become reproductive adults when they are 4 years old. They look for a mate and are loyal all their life. After reproduction, they build a nest on a cliff where they lay only one egg. Vultures are often called scavengers. They clean up nature by eating cadavers of both domestic and wildlife ungulates. When a vulture sees a carcass, other vultures come too. They are also called epidemiological dead end. Therefore, vultures prevent diseases from spreading.
Data shows that the Griffon vulture was in the area until the end of the 19th century. In the 60s, there were only 20 couples left in the French Pyrenees. The species disappeared because of man. First, there was a large predator poisoning campaign to kill bears, wolves and lynx. But vultures also ate poisoning cadavers and died too. Illegal shooting and poaching are another threat. After its disappearance, a reintroduction program was established in the 19th by the association Vautour en Haute-Provence.
The
first vulture was released in October 1999. After a very long administrative procedure, the first birds were recovered in 1997. Vultures come from two places, juveniles from zoos and adults from care centers. Griffon vultures stay in an aviary to get acclimated to the region. Currently, in the Verdon, there are around 350 Griffon vultures. Reintroduced raptors are monitored thanks to rings. The LPO, an association for bird protection, has recovered the program since 2001. However, reintroduced vultures are still vulnerable. The Park of the Verdon is also involved in the program and is in charge of communication.
The Parc du Verdon is leading a campaign to make people aware of the reintroduction of the Griffon vulture. I think this is important, because reintroduction has to be accepted by hunters, claimers and breeders.
So, we saw that the vulture has a major function in the ecosystem. But do people in this region know the Griffon vulture?
Non.
Oui.
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 Pas spécialement, non.
Là?
Le vautour fauve.
Oui, oui, oui.
Oui.
La vautour, oui.
Oui.
Ouais.
Ouais.
Bien sûr que je les connais, je les vois tous les jours.
Most people know the Griffon vulture. Its presence has many advantages. First, for breeders. They give their livestock carcasses to the LPO, which is in charge of collecting dead animals. This way, vultures contribute to naturally recycling carcasses. In the region, there are 80 breeders who participate in this action, such as Robin Desper.
Each year, I give between 5 and 10 carcasses to vultures. If I compare with a knacker from Toulon, I don't have to pay the association. The LPO comes quickly, we call them and they arrive the next day. This program feeds vultures and it is a good thing for biodiversity.
And a few breeders like Evelyn Guichard put their livestock losses on their own plot.
8-10 ans.
It's been at least 8 years that we've had the concrete plot funded by the LPO. We give 8 to 10 animals a year and maybe more when lambs die at birth. When there is a dead sheep, there are 40 to 60 vultures.
In the region, the reintroduction of vulture has an impact on the increase of tourism. The reintroduction is beneficial to shops, restaurants and hotels.
Je pense que c'est quelque chose de positif.
I think that is something positive, but from a touristic point of view. The vultures are one of the attractions in the village. We are a staging point for people who want a guided tour to see the vultures. And hunters who are actively present in the Gorges du Verdon are not disturbed by vultures, even if they eat dead prey sometimes.
Every time a prey is hurt, they come. Vultures don't disturb. They eat only dead prey. Well, they are beautiful. I see them every day from my window.
However, different controversies were born with the closure of mass charnel houses in Spain. In fact, a lot of Spanish vultures came to the French Pyrenees to find food. The important number of vultures impressed local farmers. They started to spread rumors about vultures attacking flocks.
But they are not physically able to kill living animals. They have a powerful beak to cover copicide, but they can't kill anything with their feet. They have no strength in the feet, and they don't control their flight enough to attack prey.
And what do people think about the Griffon Vulture?
C'est magnifique, oui.
Parfois, moi, ça me dérange guère.
Il me fait peur là, non?
Sans-moi Fred, s'il te plaît. C'est un oiseau qui a sa place.
Génial. Donc vous êtes un ami des vautours.
Oui.
D'accord.
Qui veut l'agieux.
Nowadays, the most important problem for the population is the increasing number of vultures and their dependence on men.
The reintroduction of 15 vultures was a good idea, but now, with the LPO, we have 350 vultures. For me, this is nonsense. Sadly, they will never be independent, because there are not enough sheep here for all those vultures.
Now, with increasing vulture population, local people are worried about biodiversity and livestock. They think that people in charge of the reintroduction program meet difficulties to manage the vulture population. There is another fear for breeders: the association of vultures with wolves. In fact, when wolves attack, vultures come quickly and eat dead sheep. So carcasses are cleaned and breeders can get any compensation by ensuring their livestock was attacked.
But people should not worry. The Griffon vulture is not a danger, neither for human life nor for economic activities. Currently, the LPO is setting up actions so that vultures become independent. The association works on particular plots with volunteer breeders. With this feeding method, the LPO doesn't interfere. So populations will be regulated when habitat and food become unavailable. Man must let nature take its course.
The reintroduction of the Griffon vulture is finished. Now, the reintroduction of the black vulture is in progress.
Here, in the Gorge du Verdon, there are 3 nesting vulture species. 2 have been reintroduced, the Griffon and the black vulture. The Egyptian vulture came back naturally, attracted by others. The bearded vulture is the final link of a 4-species complementarity because they eat different parts of the cadaver.
Finally, the reintroduction of the Griffon vulture is a success. But there are some new threats.
On a aussi de nouvelles activités qui apparaissent en falaise.
On the cliffs, there are more and more people practicing new activities in addition to claiming. We are working with claiming clubs to adapt the sport to the vulture's nesting period. So we put information signs on the claiming tracks to make people aware. Concerning breeders, the return of the wolves could cause another threat. Carcasses are present to kill wolves, and this practice also kills vulture. To reassure breeders, we must communicate and find solutions to decrease potential disturbances.
Finally, there is one more threat: diclofenac, a drug used on cattle. In India, this drug killed 80% of the vultures. Now, this drug may come to Europe. Monitoring this drug is important, particularly in Spain, where there is a big population with 20,000 Griffon couples and 2,000 black couples.
The vulture depends on men and pastures. In the wild and pastoral land of the Gorge du Verdon, this wonderful bird is in its rightful place.